Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near.
Okay, so let's get into this. Let us see what is going on with Reckless Ben and Bricks and Minifigs. See what this new wild turn is.
Bricks and Minifigs paying out Reckless Ben and damages day after day. We're going to get at it today on The Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire.
I know that they've offered a buyout to Brian Mansell. I do remember that they've offered a payout to him already. I don't know if I've seen anything about them offering a payout to Ben, though. So this could be interesting.
American attorney. And today I want to react to a video that actually asks a lot of really good questions, legal questions, and other practical questions by Lego Empire entitled Bricks and Minifigs Just Agreed to Pay Reckless Ben. Very good video, so we're going to review that today. Let's get into it today with Reckless Ben and what's going on.
I can't show you the actual video itself because it is, of course, on its Patreon. Ben, in this video, gives us a lot of good information. He goes over how his legal team and Bricks and Minifigs have been negotiating during this case.
I think the negotiations as a whole have been going on essentially for the last couple weeks. I think that in this case, it
the minute that the what was it, the temporary, I'm guessing the minute that temporary restraining order went into place is, I'm guessing, that when Bricks and Minifigs' attorneys reached out to Ben's attorneys and he started talking. And then when the TRO was lifted, they put those, I'm guessing they probably kicked those negotiations into high gear, because with the temporary restraining order lifted, they knew it was only a matter of time before Ben dropped his part 3 video onto YouTube, which I tracked. It's still not dropped yet. I'm waiting for it to drop.
Probably even started before Ben had a lawyer, which is probably some of the problem here. Is Ben and Bricks and Minifigs probably started negotiating without everybody in place. But the question is, for how long have Ben's lawyers or professional mediators, how long have they been involved in this? We don't know how much Ben is actually listening to his lawyers and doing what they're telling him to do, or what Ben is doing. You know, if Ben is doing Ben and Ben wants to do things his way, and that's part of negotiations.
And at some point during these negotiations, Reckless Ben's team basically pushed for Bricks and Minifigs to pay damages for every day that Ben was under the temporary restraining order. And this is something I've actually been bringing up, and I said that I hoped that Bricks and Minifigs would pay Ben damages for what has gone on.
And that wouldn't be unreasonable. He's not allowed to create content. He's out there not making money, not profiting. Right now, he could be very profitable if he was making videos like, for example, look at my videos and other videos on this topic. They're getting hundreds of thousands of views. So if Ben can make videos, he would be making a lot of money. Not to mention, I hope he's factoring in advertising, sponsors. By the way, we got to run today's sponsor. So as always, we have an important message from Morgan & Morgan. Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in
this is
designing
running.
and promoting addictive platforms.
Ben has not been
They
able
knew
to
their
make
apps
content
could contribute to anxiety,
for
depression, and
at
body
least
image
a
issues,
month, I
but
think.
did not share those risks while
Probably
prioritizing
over a month.
profits.
Like the
recent
last
historic
video
verdict
he was able to
underscores
make
the
was that one
consequences of
where he
those
said, "I
decisions.
can't talk about
If you
this."
or your
And
child spent
that was the
years
last
growing
one he
up
put
on
out.
social
So
media
this
and
is like
experienced serious mental
at
health
least a
struggles, you
month's
should
worth
hear
of
this.
content
Morgan & Morgan
that he
is
has
stepping
not
up
been
to
able
hold
to
these
produce. He's
platforms
not even able
accountable
to
for
talk
the
about
harm they
anything.
cause.
So
You can
that
use the
makes
link in my
perfect sense that
description
he
or
would be like,
scan
"Yeah,
the QR
you're
code
gonna
to take a short
fucking pay
quiz
me
to see if
for
you
the
qualify
time
for
that
a
I've had
case.
to
You
basically
may
sit
be
on my
entitled
hands
to
and
a
not talk
potential
about
recovery
this
of
because of
over
your
$1,000.
TRO."
And we're back here, and let's get right back into the reaction.
And if you're wondering what the reasoning that Ben's lawyer...
I believe... I'm trying to remember if they swapped the RICO? Or is the RICO still in place? Or no, sorry, wait, was it Crystal was getting in on going after Bricks and Minifigs about the RICO? I can't remember. this is a bit of a confusing case, but I'm trying to remember if that's right, that's what it was. The RICO case moved to federal court, so it moved out. That's right. The RICO case moved from state court to federal court. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Which basically takes it out of the hands of the state of Utah and instead puts it into federal jurisdiction because obviously there's a concern about the state of Utah and, obvious concerns with corruption given what's been happening in the state of Utah since this entire thing began.
Gave for this in the negotiations, it was that Ben suffered harm each day that he was silenced. And
you're not making money, you're not getting sponsors, you're not getting ads, right? This is all revenue that he could be making that, well, he's not making right now. And that's a big deal.
Grounds that Bricks and Many Figs got this temporary restraining order approved on in the first place were that Ben was doing some crazy stuff. Specifically, he references the bomb threat allegations and claims that Ben was going.
Wait. What? Wait, sorry, I'm saying goodnight to Colonel. I missed what he just said.
Crazy stuff. Specifically, he references the bomb threat allegations and claims that Ben was going to, quote, up Bricks and Many Figs stores, which...
And we all know that's BS. We all know that's a lie.
Yes.
I mean, obviously that was...
that is outright slanderous. That is outright defamation to basically make these wild accusations that Ben has made the claim that he was going to unleash an explosive device or, shoot up one of their stores. That's insane. That is absolutely insane for them to say something like that. And I think that's going to significantly harm their case by making those blatant accusations. Because I guarantee you there's no way they're going to be able to facilitate proof of that. Timmy, there's absolutely, well, that's not the reason why they got the TRO. That's basically their defense of basically painting themselves as the victim. And there's nothing that they can produce of evidentiary value to substantiate the claim that he made these threats, these physical threats against their company or against their business. So, I don't know, this entire case, I have to wonder, do the people at Bricks and Many Figs or their lawyers have a break? Because at this point, it seems like none of these people have a single functioning brain between the group of them right now.
Not going to happen. Ben was not going to do that. That's a false pretense, right? Trying to pretend that Ben was going to do that is absolutely beyond the pale. And that's where Bricks and Many Figs is just getting ridiculous, is by making those underlying things and saying, well, because some people called me or so some disgruntled people called. Those people are not necessarily working for Ben or attached to Ben.
And apparently, Bricks and Many Figs' legal team agrees with that and knew that the grounds this temporary restraining order was granted on were completely false because Bricks and Many Figs' legal team seemingly agreed to the terms to pay Ben for every day this temporary restraining order continued.
Well, they're on the back foot right now, so I'm not surprised.
Oh, wait. So is he saying that the basis for the temporary restraining order was this claim of threat against them, supposedly by Ben, to either use an explosive device or shoot up one of their stores, and that was the basis for their TRO? Oh, they're done. Oh, they are so fucking done at this point. You could not have made a dumber argument for the TRO than that. Because the minute it gets challenged, the court's going to go, okay, where is your proof that Ben has made this threat? And they're going to go, I have the proof I made it the fuck up. And what are we doing? This is insane.
From a PR standpoint, they need to give ground and it's safer to pay out damages. So I'm not too surprised that they agreed to do that because Bricks and Many Figs itself is on the back foot.
Which I gotta say, This is a really good move by Ben's legal team because, at least in my opinion, it seems like Bricks and Many Figs' strategy since the beginning of this case has been, number one, silence Ben, number two, keep it going as long as possible.
Well, definitely silence Ben. So number one, correct. Number two, keep it going as long as possible. Well, what they do.
Well, what they kept going is, Ben was, this was a typical traditional bully tactic. They silenced Ben. And when Ben couldn't talk, they went on a media campaign basically trying to say, look, we're the victims in all of this, to multiple like mainstream news, podcasts. Like they were going on multiple shows trying to say that we're the good guys here, while Ben couldn't say a word. He was under this TRO. The craziest thing was all of their media blitz campaign completely blew up in their face. Every single interview that Anand did, and I guess maybe his brother may have done some as well, every interview they did made them look more and more corrupt. Starting with the CoffeeZilla, they went on Fox, they've been on numerous other like Lego type podcasts, and every single one that they went on made them look like absolute shit. It made them look like the biggest crooks out there. So not only did this TRO backfire in that now they have to pay Ben for all the time he has not been able to make content and get ad revenue and make money from it, their media campaign completely backfired, and they look even worse than they did when they started, which honestly is really fucking impressive, I have to say.
What we want to do is keep the process, the legal process drawn out, in hopes he won't create content during the legal process. The problem is that Ben is highly motivated to try to create content and get content out. There's obviously a profit motive, which is where the damages come in. And there's a PR standpoint of it looks like you're silencing people. And as Americans, we do not like being silenced. We like our freedom of speech.
And even when there were some joint filings from Ben's legal team and Bricks and Many Figs and other defendants in this case, there were clear grammatical and structural errors in these motions that would basically have any judge in the country deny them, because it's just like, what are you even doing here?
Okay.
Wait, did Ben's, oh my God, do we have another situation of a lawyer using ChatGPT to write up their legal brief? Please tell me they were not that stupid. Because we've heard about that, right? And Hammer, thank you for the 5 gifteds. Thank you very much. You've heard about this, right? Like there was a lawyer that literally got disbarred because they used ChatGPT to write up a legal brief, and that ChatGPT cited a court case that does not even exist. And so when that lawyer presented that legal brief to a judge, that lawyer got disbarred. So ChatGPT wouldn't make spelling mistakes. I mean, you would think not? Why? I don't know. Like, if there was that much, like, spelling and grammatical error, they had to have used some kind of AI to do it, right? Then close to a dozen lawyers disbarred for using AI to write briefs at this point. Yeah, and I have to wonder, did this lawyer use AI in some capacity to write up the legal brief, and it just, like, had a massive hallucination and just created a shit ton of grammatical errors and whatnot in it. Like, how does Bricks and Minifigs and their lawyers keep stepping on these fucking rakes? Every single thing they do, they're just smacking themselves in the face with a rake. Every fucking time. It is honestly staggering how stupid these people are.
I'm going to stop there. This is one where I'm like, I listened to this video and I'm like, okay, I'm with you. Wait, hold up. Okay, spelling errors, scrivener's errors, we call them scrivener's errors, other typos. We make mistakes, we make typos. That doesn't mean a judge throws everything out because you have a typo. A small non-material, an immaterial mistake like a typo or a comma or whatever, that's not going to make or break your case.
So at least from my perspective, it seems like Bricks and Minifig's strategy.
Well, that's the question. Like, I agree with legal mindset. Like, if there's like a typo, like an occasional typo or some punctuation gets goofed up, yeah, of course, he's absolutely right. The way this video presented it, though, is there was that insignificant amount of grammatical errors in the brief. So, you know, which is it? Did we just have a couple of typos here and there, or were there some significant grammatical problems throughout the entire brief?
has just been to keep Ben's silence for as long as possible and do anything they can to prevent the part 3 from being uploaded.
I do think that they wanted to stop part 3. I do agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
But at this point,
Oh, yeah.
I think there's going to be more harm from trying to keep him from putting out that content than there would be, in just paying him the just letting him do it, right, versus the damages. So they're going to have to pay these damages to him. Just let him put out part 3, right?
It really makes me wonder what the heck is in part 3. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, and maybe that's what they're negotiating right now. Maybe right now they're negotiating the elements of part 3, and they're actually, maybe they've passed a version over and they are going over part 3 and saying, okay, cut out this part, edit out this part, do this. And they're going back and forth because they're saying this is defamatory, this is this is that. So it could be.
That's possible because I believe Ben posted something saying that he is editing part 3. He is making some edits to it. So that absolutely could be possible, that he's trimming it down and it's getting worked out. Yeah. Okay.
That Bricks and Minifigs is trying to assert some control, some editorial control over part 3. That's one thing. Once again, speculation here on what they're dealing with, but I think it's reasonable speculation.
He released a video. I just looked at his channel. He hasn't released any new videos. The last video on Ben's channel is his quote unquote goodbye one, where he said he can't talk about Bricks and Minifigs because he's under the TRO. He hasn't released anything else. Now, he released on his Patreon. That, part 3 is on his Patreon right now. It is out there. So, it's it is released on a, it is paywall, but it has not been released to YouTube yet. I'm waiting with bated breath for the YouTube release.
Speculation that would make sense in the light of this, this contest between Bricks and Minifigs and between Reckless Ben.
Them agreeing to these terms basically goes against their whole strategy. If they want to keep Ben silent as long as possible, but then they agree to something that would punish them for keeping Ben silent for a longer time, that's kind of counterintuitive.
It makes sense in the context of negotiation, right? So with ongoing negotiations where there's potential damages, they're kind of mitigating their risk here. They're essentially paying that money out, yes, because they want to be able to negotiate. They want to keep him at the table, but they do want to keep him relatively silenced because they don't want any more bad PR. They've already had enough bad PR. So they've got this.
Well, that's the funny part. They're saying we want to keep Ben silent because of bad PR, but they have been creating a mountain's worth of bad PR all on their own without Ben releasing this video. They've been doing Ben's job in making them look like absolute clowns with all the interviews that they've done in the last several weeks. They didn't need Ben to do that. They took care of it all on their own, like the big boys that they are.
Okay, we want, we want to stop the bad PR on the same side as, hey, we want to prevent any damages here from, very validly denying him the ability to publish and to make money.
And Ben goes on to say that Judge Tony Graff, who was previously on the case in the Utah District Court, is super difficult. That's what Ben says, super difficult. And I'm sure we all have our own ideas on why Judge Tony Graff has been difficult in this case. But
I think a lot of people are giving Judge Graff a lot of flack. Now, mind you, this is potentially going to be removed to the federal court, so we'll get a new judge there. But that said, with Tony Graff, I mean, it looked like he was a neutral judge that had made some questionable decisions. So there were some decisions where it's like, okay, people can disagree with that. People can say he's, not stellar because of some things he's done. But you look at the whole of a person's record and what they've done and say, okay, is he blatantly biased, or does he, have anything that you can show me objectively that he's going to rule against Ben for sure here? And I didn't see anything in his record that showed that he was 100% guaranteed to be biased against Ben. So I'm not on the plane of jumping in and saying this is a horrible judge or he's super biased or he's made bad decisions. I'm saying, look, a judge can make bad decisions, and judges do make bad decisions and mistakes, just like lawyers, right?
And then Ben says that episode 3 is finished and ready to post. So it'll go up the moment the temporary restraining order expires. But something I am really wondering about is, now that this case is in federal court, what kind of bearing will the apparent agreeance of these terms to pay Ben for every day the temporary restraining order continues? Is that in writing somewhere? Like,
I don't think that's in writing. I think that's unwritten. I think that's something that's part of these settlement negotiations. So I think that at this point, that is not part of the official order. There's no official ruling on that. So that's something that they've just agreed to do, right? And haven't formalized yet. So I think that's the status of that, to answer his question, which once again, Lego Empire here, very good questions and really on point for what people would want to know. So I think I really want to applaud him for having good questions.
how concrete is that? Because that is huge. Because, you know, Ben deserves to be paid because he has lost revenue from not being able to post part 3 and other content on Bricks and Minifigs.
Very fair. He absolutely does have lost revenue that does need to be recovered.
And Ben goes on to basically confirm what we've all assumed, that Bricks and Minifigs has been delaying things for a while. So Ben has not gotten the chance to post part 3. He's just been delayed day after day, basically being told, okay, tomorrow or the next day you'll be able to post it. So now the case is in limbo. And
that's true. So essentially he's got this part 3 he's been sitting on, and that's the thing that's burning a hole in his pocket, is that he's got to get that out. He's already made, he's already invested his time in that. So that is very high priority for him.
This is not a settlement. This is, bearing in mind, this is not then getting into a settlement with Bricks and Minifigs. What they're talking about here is by the temporary restraining, dropping the temporary restraining order, and Bricks and Minifigs paying Ben for damages because he has been unable to post content since the temporary restraining order went up, which means he has not been able to post any content, which means he has not been able to make any revenue from any of his content. So it's not that they're not settling the case. This is strictly speaking regarding the temporary restraining order, it being dropped, and Bricks and Minifigs paying him damage for all of the time that he has had to remain silent in regards to the temporary restraining order. That's it. The bulk of the case itself is still ongoing. There's been no settlement reached on that yet.
Of course.
And Ben says he's, of course, confused about what's going on, the content delays and all of that.
Well, if Ben is confused, he needs to start speaking to his lawyers. I think that, if Ben is confused, there's a problem. And his lawyers are the ones who should be updating him. If he doesn't know what's going on, maybe when people are asking him these questions, maybe he doesn't want to learn about the actual legal side of it. I don't know. We don't know.
As someone who is not a legal expert by any means, this case has also confused me in many ways, and it's been a learning experience for sure. But now this case is...
It is a very interesting case. I think this case is one of the best cases involving a corporation, modern America, RICO. There's anti-SLAPP. There's all sorts of criminal stuff that's involved in this. And then, of course, what happened with the police and the police overreach, which is a whole separate thing. The America Force PD, which probably has got to be its own episode. That's got to be its own thing. Because there's so much.
That police overreach, that is going, when that finally starts getting worked on in a legal sense, that is going to be a whole new shitstorm. Because I have a suspicion that after Ben is done with the case against Bricks and Minifigs, I have a suspicion that if he can work something out with his lawyer, they may turn that Eye of Sauron onto the American Fork Police Department and actually file a case against that. So instead of being the defendants, they're going to be the plaintiffs. And that is going to, again, I still think the federal government needs to drop the legal hammer on that entire town. I think the FBI and the DOJ needs to move in and do a full investigation of that entire town. They need to investigate American Fork PD. They need to investigate the town council. There is some incredibly shady shit happening in that town, and the Department of Justice needs to come down on it like a fucking hammer.
Much there.
Hands of Judge Cecilia Romero. I assume she is the federal court judge, and she needs to sign off before the temporary restraining order is lifted. And as soon as she signs off on it, part 3 will release as quick as possible.
And so we'll stop there with this one because I wanna get kind of hammer this point. By the way, amazing video. Check this out. I'm gonna put that in the description as well for this, so you guys can check that out. You know, a very important thing to remember here is, you know, if this does go into federal court, it's going to completely change the rules, right? So we're going to have the federal rules of civil procedure. We're going to have, you know, a lot of other stuff coming in. Of course, they're going to apply the anti-SLAPP law for Utah. So we're going to have a whole different set of things that comes in. So this could change the case wildly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit different type of content. So let me know if you enjoy when I do reaction content. If you like when I react to channels, including non-legal channels or channels just asking questions, let me know, because I want to see what type of content you guys like, because I do what you guys like and what you enjoy. So let me know in the comments below, and make sure to like and share the video. I'll catch you on the next one.
Andrew making his way into the reaction content. Welcome to the club, Andrew. We have snacks.
Ember burns bright, bright.